listening to the spot from which something will carry forward. So the first step was listening, reflecting back exactly what the person says. The second is, oh, that's no good. I don't want a robot listening to me. So then Jean says, we have to metabolize it and listen to what it means for us, for them, and suggests taking a little breath and taking it in, and then listening to the fire engine words, those words that really stick out, and saying them back, but not the other words, maybe. That was step 3. Step 4, I think, now I might be leaving something out. Step 4 was looking for that sigh, that exhale. That's what you want when you're listening. The person to say yes with that little exhale. And that's so important. Then there are no words that are right there. The person has said it. And that the natural thing is for people to leave, change the subject. Well, enough of me. How are you? And Jean says that it all hinges on that moment, and that we have to encourage the person to stay there. And that's a big move. Yeah, can you stay with that for a minute? There's more about that, I think. Maybe we don't have words for it, but there's more there. So that is the focusing place where everything opens up in little steps, when you can encourage the person to stay after they've said all that they know about it. And in other places, Jean has referred to that as the edge of thinking, the large realm. And then with the old Jean, the seasoned therapist, listener, who has done a great deal of work, philosophical work and therapeutic work, we listen to him say, it's not about saying back. It's about being with the person. And he uses as an example saying to the person after he responds, saying, do I have that right? And that little step of, do I have that right? Or can you say more about that? Or gives that the person this this prompt to sort of go and check. And it's that going and checking. And there's this kind of rhythm of the person saying something and his saying something. And it's coordinated, the being with. And I want to point out, I've said this other times, but it's very particular here. What Jean is saying is that moment is important because it invites the person to go inside. And I've said that there are two sides of the same coin. Jean says that too. The side of going inside and the side of being one interaction and our being different with a new person. And I would emphasize in that moment the coordination of how Jean and Carl are being with the person, thinking alongside, feeling alongside the person, and the back and forth of it, how they're expanding each other. Jean is emphasizing the individual and being there for the individual, which of course is the other side. That's very, very important. We've gone up to this point there of it's not the saying back, but the going inside and the coordination. But the thing that thrills me about it is that Jean is going further in showing that embodied listening, genuine listening, as he's really showing it, is improvisational listening. Improvisation has a kind of bad reputation with therapists, because therapists think, oh, it means I have to be clever. I have to be like those jazz musicians and those comedians, and I have to come up with something really entertaining, and I have to be on my toes every minute. And that's not, in my mind, what improvisation is. Improvisation is exactly what, let's see, I'm going to say something radical here, and let's see if you agree. Because I don't have to be right. I just have to be evocative and a little provocative. In my mind, improvisational listening is exactly what Jean is doing in these videos. And improvisation is exactly this coordination with the other, in which you are not saying what you know, but allowing yourself to be spontaneous and having faith that the implicit knowing, the implicit connection between you and all of your theory and the other person and all of what they know is in there, and that it's more than you doing it. When we feel like it's us doing it, we get very uptight, and the listening can be very stilted, right? I think all of us know that place. I'm not doing it right. I have to do it right. And then when you think of improvisation, you're even more frozen. But improvisational listening is believing that we're in it together, and that this carrying forward energy, this developmental thrust, as the psychoanalysts would say, it's got us. We're in it. It's a flow, and we're flowing along with it. And it doesn't matter if we get it wrong. That's part of the improvisation. And we can go with that. So improvisation is going with, everybody sort of knows by now that idea that it's a yes and rather than yes but. So whatever the person says, I think therapy is just a way of people making money, and that it doesn't do any good for anybody. It doesn't do any good. So the therapist that says, you feel like it doesn't do any good, and it's just a way of getting money. You're saying back the words, but what are you really communicating? You're communicating, I don't like what you're saying, right? If the therapist is improvisational, the therapist will say, wow, that's really something for us to think about. What is this making money in here with us? It's just about making money, and I'm going to get rich from this process, and you're not going to get any help or something. But something that takes this and goes further with it, but embraces it, doesn't shrink from it, doesn't take it for granted. I remember when Jean said that listening is like receiving a gift for your birthday. So the improvisational listening is taking something and opening it with surprise, even if it's something that you know, and unfolding it, unwrapping all of it, and really looking at it, and looking at the person who's giving it to you. Oh, what will we do with this?